Hey, welcome. Thank you for getting on today. And we are excited, so excited to hear from Elona today. She is one of my really good friends, and she has helped me a lot in my life. And so I'm excited to learn from her today because every time that I speak with her, I learn something. And I believe that you guys will also learn a ton. And if you apply the principles and the things that she teaches, it will bring results in your life. I have watched her grow and make a ton of progress, so I know what she has to teach works. I've seen it work for her, and as I've applied the things, it's worked for me too. So thank you so much. My relationship series is really about helping you create good relationships in your life, be it with your family and others, with yourself, with money, whatever it is, those relationships, those levels of relationships can increase. And she is going to share some tips that will increase your relationship with yourself if you have ADHD, or with your spouse or other loved ones in your life, that you can help support them if they have this in their life. So, all right. Is there anything else that you would like me to say to introduce you, Ilana?
I think that was wonderful. I'm totally going to, when I get the webinar, I'm going to cut that and put that on my webpage for like the biggest endorsement. I love that. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Oh, Michaela says she has no audio. She can't hear anything.
Let's have her call in on the number that she received in the email. Like call in on her phone.
Okay.
That'll help, I think. Or have her turn on the volume on a computer. If she's already tried that, then that would probably be the next option, is to.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure all my friends can hear me as well as see me. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, all my awesome friends, I'm getting messages from you. Love that you're on here. Thank you so much for joining us. I have some really fun things planned, and I wanted to focus today on managing time, because that's a really big part of all of our lives, but especially in business, it's important that you're managing your time so that you're spending it where you want and not spending 6 hours on Pinterest, not getting anything else done for your business. Yes, I've done that. So that's something I had to look at for sure. And I wanted to also focus on money management. I know when you're in business, the point is to make money, because if it's not, then it's philanthropy. And it's not a bad thing, but if you're in business and not making money, then you're not supporting your family and you're not getting something for your time to compensate your family for the time away. And that's important because they deserve to get something out of it as well for having that time spent with you away. So, and also one last thing. I remembered it. I wanted to focus on memory. Now, bear in mind, I have ADHD, so focus can be a problem for me. So if I get off track, feel free, Julie, or somebody else, put in the comments, wait, I wanted to finish that thought. What were you going to say about that? Please do remind me. I appreciate it so much when people do that. I get off on tangents sometimes, and sometimes those tangents are good. When people ask questions, it's important to cover and follow your intuition with what the person needs that's listening to this. So I hope we will be able to follow that intuition. I am a very spiritual person, so I believe in listening to God and following the promptings I get. So, okay, so first of all, in managing time, I want you to know with ADHD, sometimes when we are dealing with time, for us, it can be a kind of nebulous concept. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Doctor Who, but I love the episode called Blink, where it was with the angels. And my sons found this. It was kind of scary, but not scary and like gory, just kind of suspense. But there was a part in there where he was talking about time, and he said some people think it's this linear cause and effect sort of thing, when it's more like this wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. And that's how time feels to me a lot of the time. It's like redundant, sorry. It gets away from me. when I'm doing something fun, I just am not aware of the time and it just slips by so fast. And other times I definitely can feel it dragging, but most of the time, if I am not consciously looking at a clock, I will have no idea what time it is or how much time has passed. I will get into the nighttime, and with the lights in the house, I won't even realize it's night. So one of the things I do with time is I set alarms throughout the day for things, including when to eat, because I will forget that too. So when I have alarms go off throughout the day for specific things I want to get done and for specific markers I want to hit, like eating, getting the kids from school, it helps me be more aware of time. And when I'm on the computer trying to get specific things done, I know this covers memory and time. They're very interconnected. They're very rarely separate. So when I'm talking about these things, I want you to know that they will go together. So that's one of the things I will do on the computer is I will time myself to make sure that I get to my next thing that I have to do. And so that I don't have to have this feeling like, oh, I just have forever. It won't matter if I watch 10 cat videos. So that's one of my first things to tell you guys is when you are consciously looking at the time, you set alarms and you track where you're spending your time, then you'll be able to be more efficient with your time. And yes, you can say, I have all the time I need. And it's important to know where am I spending my time. Okay. The next thing I want to tell you guys is I have a problem frequently, or at least I have had in the past, with being late. And I figured out this really cool trick. If you can measure how much you were late, say for me, chronic problem getting to church on time. So I would notice how late I was, and then I would add that time to the next week to how much time I needed to take to prep. And after a lot of trial and error, this isn't necessarily an immediate thing, I figured out that I need exactly 2 hours to get myself, my 4 boys, and my husband ready for church in order to be on time with everything done that I want done. Could I skip some of it and take less time? Yes. But then I wouldn't necessarily have my hair curled, or I wouldn't have all of my sons come to church on time. And that's important to me. So in order to get those things, all the things done that I want, I measured how long did it take, how late was I, and then added that to the time I would need for prep the next time I did it. This has worked really well for me in other areas, like going to doctor's appointments or getting ready for presentations. I would note, this is how long I took to prep. This is how much I was late. So next time I have to add that 15 minutes because I was late, or I wasn't 15 minutes early and I wanted to be. So I'm going to take an extra 15 minutes and plan that in, that I have to leave that much sooner. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Because this is something that I am currently working on. I've noticed I can get myself somewhere on time, but adding my kids in makes it hard. And then I also, church in particular, I easily get distracted while I'm getting ready, and I'll just find myself doing random stuff that I wasn't planning on doing. So has timing it like that, knowing like, okay, when I need to start getting ready by this point, has that helped you with the distractions and being able to stay focused?
It has. So knowing this is how long it takes me to get ready as much as I want to be ready has helped me to know that. And then that timing it when I'm trying to get all my kids ready. So I don't just time it for myself. I also time it with my kids so that I know how long it took me to continually remind them as much as they needed, because I have 2 kids with ADHD. So they require frequent reminders. I have to go back and check, okay, you're not actually dressed. You're playing with toys. And they go, oh, sorry, Mama, I forgot. Like, seriously, they're in the middle of getting dressed and they forgot to continue. And that happens to me as well. But because I am on top of reminding them, it helps to remind me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I also have a sort of routine that I go through on Sunday mornings that I know I need to do this, this, and this, and this. And having that 2 hours, it doesn't actually take me 2 hours to do the things on my list, but it takes me 2 hours to remember to do all of them and to get my sons to do all of them.
Yeah.
I know if I were in a rush, I could manage to do all of them in half an hour. But because I do get distracted, because I like time to be able to sit and think over breakfast and just let my thoughts wander for a little while, it takes me 2 hours to do it the way I want and be comfortable with it. That's how long it takes. So that's kind of what I found. And yes, I can get distracted and still be late again, but I found generally that's the rule, is I know how long that takes. I have also, when I notice how late I am, so I guess this can be the third thing. I was going to say something else, but I just want to give you guys 3 good tips. I have noticed in everything that I have a certain amount of time that I need to leave by, and it's not just the Google Maps time that it says how long you're going to get there. It's also a slush of 10 to 15 minutes. It varies for different people, and if it's my kids, I double that. I plan on leaving 20 to 30 minutes before I actually would need to take to drive there, because I know I will forget something and have to come back in the house, usually multiple times. And my kids will have lost something and I will need time to help them find it. And if I've got that extra slush time that we're going to leave early, then if we end up leaving early, I get there early and I get to read my book or play on my phone or check Facebook. And that is where I can just let time go until my alarm goes off and says time to go inside. When I have that treat waiting for me at the other end, that if I get there early, I don't mind being early. Whereas before I'm like, oh, I'm wasting that time. I could be spending this last minute time getting stuff done. And now it's like, oh, if I get there early, I can read some more in my junk novel that I don't usually make time to read, because I want to be getting other stuff done at home. But if I'm sitting and waiting for an appointment, I'm going to totally take advantage of that time to play. And so I do schedule time specifically for playing, that I'm going to spend time doing something really fun for me that I like to do. But I also leave extra moments of reward of I get to play when I'm early. So that's a fun thing for me that I like to do. So just to recap, be aware of your time. Use reminders and alarms, and figure out how much time it takes you to do things. Keep track of that. And if you're late, add that time to your prep time. And then the third one, reward yourself when you get there early. Instead of trying to put a last minute thing in, plan for fun things that you can have on the other end, that you can have just like a book, a game. I love playing Plants vs. Zombies. And so I will deliberately be early to pick up my kids so I can play Plants vs. Zombies for 15 minutes. It's awesome. Okay, so moving on to money. Oh, this can be a really hot topic for people, and it's kind of a hard thing for people sometimes. And so most people, when they think of money in businesses, they think, oh, I've got to budget. Budgeting is good and it's important. It's important to know first what you want to spend your money on in your business. What supplies do you need, and what supplies are just fun? And have a budget that includes fun. That's me. With ADHD, we require things to be novel and new and fun. So if something in your business isn't just budgeted for fun, then it becomes a drag, and we will kind of move away from that and look for things that are fun. So if you have a budget for fun in your business, you will enjoy it that much more. And even if it's like buying colored markers or a pretty like sparkly pen, I found some at All a Dollar, these beautiful pink and white rhinestone pens, and like that, for me, having a budget for just a frivolous pen, that it was completely frivolous. I already had pens at home, but it was beautiful, and that made it fun for me. So I have that budget for fun things. Another thing is to track where you've been spending your money. Not necessarily, because a budget is moving forward, but tracking is looking backwards. Where have I actually spent my money? Because sometimes we budget without knowing that, oh my goodness, I had to spend a lot more on paper or computer supplies than I thought. And so going forward, I need to adjust my budget to reflect that. so that you don't get to the end of the month and go, I spent way more than I had budgeted for. What happened? You already have that planned, so you know what you need to cover. Does that make sense? It's very much like the time issue. Time and money are very connected. If you know how much you've gone over, next time plan for that. Does that make sense, guys? Okay.
I have a question.
And then, absolutely.
How do you remember to track?
Okay, one of the easiest way I have to track, I'm glad you asked that. I have an envelope in my wallet, just a plain, that you would put an 8.5, 11 paper, fold it into thirds envelope. And I keep all my receipts in there. And inside the envelope, I have a little cardboard divider, and all my business receipts go on that side. And so I have one for each month. And so I have my grocery list and stuff in the front, that's my family budget. And then in the back, I've got my business budget, so I can see where the money went. And I can also see if I'm spending too much on certain things. But I don't budget necessarily by month. I tend to budget by year. That's just been easier for me. And so I have my little, in my file cabinet, I have that package of receipts. That also makes tax time a lot easier because you've got all your receipts in one place. They're in these 12 envelopes, so it's easy to pull them out and go, this is what I spent on my business. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I couldn't unmute myself. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Oh, last one. When you go shopping, this is crucial. Make sure you have a list of what you need. And if you're like me, a paper list is the worst thing you can do to yourself. I make sure it's on my phone so that because I am very tethered to my phone, and I also have this really awesome watch. Can you see it? It's my Apple Watch. It pings my phone if I lose it. I love it. And also if I lose it, I can have people in the store call it. Yes, that's happened. So by having my list on my phone, I am able to better keep track of what it was I went to the store for. I also allow in my budget for the store a certain amount every time for impulse purchases, because I know I'll see something that I want or something that I forgot that I needed, that it's like, okay, I'm going to add that much more because I know there will be something else. And that way I don't come away from the store feeling like, I didn't stick to my list, I blew my budget. It's like, no, I planned on this much, one or two things, or this much money that was going to go for something extra or something I forgot. Now, if it was genuinely should have been on the list, I don't count that in my budget. It was like, oh yeah, milk should have been on the list. I really should keep that as just the list item. But if it's like I get there and it's like a new backpack because it's pretty. And I know when I go to conferences, it has more pockets, it'll suit me better, even though I already have a backpack. That's an impulse purchase that I wanted something extra. Yes, I did that last night. It's purple, it's so pretty. Anyway, and I knew I hadn't blown my budget because I had planned for that. Does that make sense? Okay, so.
You planned on blowing your budget. Just kidding.
Yeah, I planned on blowing my budget. Well, I planned on, that's part of my budget. Yeah. Part of my budget is fun and impulse, and some people would say it's just wasteful, but you know what? Being able to just spend money on what would be considered wasteful things, we should have fun, impulsive things like that. I really do think we should. I do. Okay, so let's go on to memory. Oh, this is a tricky one for people with ADHD, and it's one of the things that I first tell people, when they're like, what's it ADHD like? And Julie, how are we doing on time? Because I don't want to go into your time. You and I are like, I don't know.
It's 12:50 apparently.
Okay. So we're doing good. All right. So I tell people, having ADHD is like when you get to the top of the stairs and you forget what you went up there for. And so often immediately the person says back to me, well, that's normal. Everybody does that. This is true. Everybody does that. The question is, how often do you do that? Not do you do that, but how often do you do that? And how much is it interfering with your life? Now, I can honestly say that I get a ton of exercise just going up and down the stairs. I really do, because I go extra times, and running in and out of the car back to the building to grab the thing that I forgot. So it's not all bad, but I have a really fun trick for that. Every time you go to the doorway or change state, so you go from sitting to standing, or you go through a doorway or up the stairs, your body has changed state. So your active memory, the thing you're thinking right now, will push what you're thinking into short-term memory to be easily accessed. And the problem is, for people with ADHD, sometimes it's like having two desks, and here's your active memory that's got the papers on it, and here's your short-term memory. And most people, those papers, you can just slide them straight across. But with ADHD, we've got our active memories up here and our short-term memories down here. So when you slide the papers, they kind of flutter. And some of them hit and sometimes they don't. So there's ways to keep stuff in your active memory, and it will impress upon your short-term memory sometimes and help you keep it there. So one of the things I do when I go up the stairs is I chant. Get the red shirt, get the red shirt, get the red shirt, get the red shirt. And if I've forgotten to chant, yes, that happens. The second thing I will do is I will enlist help. One of the best things we can do for ourselves is get outside reminders. So my son is very helpful in reminding me when I get to the top of the stairs and I go, what did I come up here for? He yells from the bottom of the stairs, you were going to get me the red shirt because we needed that at school today, not the white one you dressed me in. So that one's really helpful for me. The other one is to put something in your hand. So for me, in that specific example, I would have him take off his white shirt. So it's in my hand as I walk up the stairs, because by the time I get to the top of the stairs, it's like, oh yeah, here's still the white shirt. I need to replace this with the red one. And this works in your business as well. So when you're going to get something from a different room, if you have a Post-it note in your hand, you know what you've left the other room to go and get, so that you are sure to grab the thing and then go back where you wanted to be in the first place. Yes. Question, Julie.
How do you have how do you remember to have sticky notes? Like, do you just have a ton everywhere, or?
I do. I really do. I got these little tiny Post-it notes. I found them at the dollar store. They're super cheap. They don't stick the best, but they stick long enough in my hand that I have a little tiny pad in every room, which for some people would drive them nuts, but for me, it's just easier. That I can write on it, take it with me, and then when I get to where I was going, I'm done with it. Then I also have a trash can in every room that I can throw it away. I'm done with that. I can throw it away. But I also generally tend to wear something with pockets, and I have a little stash in my room, in my nightstand, that I will pull out a little pad and put it in my pocket. So I do it a couple different ways depending on where I remember it. And sometimes the thing I'm holding is my phone with a big note on it that says, go get this. And I have it open to that page so it doesn't move. And for some people, that's the best reminder. It's like, I've already got this in my hand. I take my phone everywhere. This can be the thing I'm holding that reminds me. Okay.
I think putting the sticky note on my phone, like on the
that would be good.
Phone would probably if I get so distracted, I'll be like, oh, what was that ding? All the dings on my phone has been helpful.
Well, and on my iPhone, it's not just a ding. I set alarms, which you can name on the iPhone. So when an alarm goes off, it has a specific thing, like get on my accountability call. Which I forgot to charge my phone last night, so I didn't make it. Even though the alarm went off, my phone immediately died after. I wasn't done charging for 8 minutes, so I missed it. And that's, I think, the last thing I want to leave with you guys today is forgive yourself. You will totally make mistakes and mess up. Forgive yourself. Apologize to another person if you've broken an agreement with them. Like, I was going to call you at this time and then you forgot. Forgive yourself. Ask forgiveness of them and get back to setting it right as soon as you can. And I used to live in this this world of embarrassment. Every time I did something wrong, I would go hide. I would just totally go hide. And I wouldn't say sorry to the person. I would just hide from them for as long as possible. And that didn't work very well. And I lost some friends doing that. Not that they'd wanted to break up with me, but I left them. And that was sad. So recap memory. Use a cell phone to remind you. Take sticky notes and hold things in your hand when you're going somewhere, or chant so it's in your active memory. And I guess there was a fourth. Ask somebody. So especially with clients, I will set things and I will try to put them in my calendar, but sometimes I've forgotten, I got distracted, my phone was off. And so I will tell them, make sure you also remind me, give me a text. We're still doing this. Like you did, Julie. You're like, yeah, we're still doing this. You sent me an email. Are you ready? Like, yes, I've been planning on it. I was excited to do it. So it's really helpful to have outside reminders. And I found that most people are really happy and, I don't know, glad and easily agree to, yeah, I'd be happy to help you out with that, because it's just a simple thing. Mm-hmm. So having said all that, what questions do you guys have?
So somebody says that they have a problem finding something to write with.
Oh, yeah. So where my sticky notes are, I also have pens. Maybe I should have mentioned that before. I forgot. I also
pens at my house.
Right. I do have a lot of pens in my house. There, you can always find pens, sticky notes, Kleenex, garbage cans. Kleenex are key for me. And a few other things. There's some things that if I have to go get it, I know I will forget on the way there what I was going to get. And so there are things that I keep multiples of, and I try to get inexpensive things so that if I have it in every room, that they aren't really expensive. But also, I don't necessarily put it in every single room. I put it in the rooms where I'm most likely to need it. So I have them in my office. I have them in my bedroom, in the kitchen for sure. Some places like that where that you spend the majority of your time, that you also leave from to go get things. I don't keep them in my little boy's room. I don't need them in there. If I'm in there, it's something for them. That's not where I do my thinking and moving from. So does that make sense? It's not every single room. It's the rooms where I need it. And if you find yourself, again, this is trial and error. If you find yourself in a room where you're like, oh, I wish I had that. I wish I had that. Plan on that. Add that to that room. And chant.
Another thing is, my pens and pencils get stolen because my kids love to draw. So I have tied them to just some yarn and then tied them to places so that it's always there, so that it can't be stolen. So
absolutely,
and hook it to the fridge somehow, and that we're just somehow figure out how to hook it there so that it doesn't leave. Because even I will steal them. I will take them and I'll take them everywhere around the house, and I'll be like, where is that pen? And it will be gone. So maybe that will be helpful too.
Yeah. One of the things I did to make sure that they don't necessarily get stolen is I found a way to make the pens look like flowers. I got some inexpensive flowers from $1, and you cut the stems, and then you use flower tape to stick it to the pen. And then I have a jar. That's where my pens are. So it looks like a decorative thing. It's not like, oh, look, there's pens out in the room. It's this beautiful jar that looks like it's just full of flowers. And it is my pens. And they don't tend to leave because they've got flowers. But I also have boys, not girls. And I have a feeling that with girls, the flower pens might disappear. So I like the idea of tying them down. But the other thing is, my kids know, and I've trained them with, if you take my pen, you're going to need to replace it. And I've actually walked them back to it to have them replace it. And if we couldn't find the pen they took, they get to take a new one out of my large stash of pens and put that one there. If none of them will admit to it, they all get to practice, so that all of us remember to put the pens back. So anyway, any other questions, my friends?
If you want to ask a question, you can type it into the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask her. Now is the time. There might be some questions I have. Let me think about it.
Okay.
Thank you. Galaxy S6.
I don't know who that is, but thank you so much. That's very sweet of you.
She says, she's calling me a thief.
You said you stole your pens.
I guess I am. And she says we're cute. Pen thief.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. My husband's always getting at, where's all the pens? And I'm like, there's a number of us to take them. Michaela says, I was told to keep a notebook in pocket. What are your thoughts on that?
That is something that I did for quite a while. I did have a notebook in my pocket. I found, though, that I lost the notebook frequently. So as far as, like, there is a spectrum of people with ADHD, and there are people who it affects a little bit, and there are people that it affects a lot. I'm like here. I'm in a pretty severe thing. So I would have a notebook, and it would work pretty good for that day. But then the next day, I couldn't find it. And so for me, having a notebook I can call when it's lost, that has been really, really helpful for me. I also have a written calendar, but it stays in my room. It doesn't go anywhere else. So I have to have a copy of what's on my written calendar in my electronic calendar. But my main calendar is in this phone. But in order for me to see everything at once, because the phone doesn't have a good way of helping you see what's going on the entire month, my iPad does, but the phone doesn't. And so I would use my paper calendar to lay out everything that I have going to make sure I didn't double book people, because yes, that's happened. And but also I love the notebook. That works for a lot of people. I think it's a great idea. And I have seen these awesome little notebooks at All a Dollar. Again, I love that store, that have not only the notebook, but it had a pen built into it. And I was like, that is perfect. That way you don't lose the pen. I have also used pens that have a necklace built into them. So I just put that on, and I will wear the pen to take with me. Not the best fashion accessory when I'm presenting, but around the house, it works great.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. I have a question.
Okay.
So I have a lot going all the time because, you know, I'm a business owner and a mom, and help my husband with his business, and I'll have a lot of thoughts and ideas come to me, and I have about 50 notebooks with them in there. Do you have any suggestions to help me? Or I'll like make a system like, okay, this is the system, and then I'll forget that I made that system, and I'll just start doing random stuff. Do you have any suggestions for that?
I do. No, you're not alone in this. I have done similar things where I've done new systems, and part of that is I like new things. So I'll try a new one. And so what I've done is, whatever notebook I'm using, at the very top of the page, I will write the date, maybe what event I'm at, or what the topic is that I'm writing about. If I had thoughts about ADHD that I want to put in my upcoming book, I will write at the top ADHD and like memory, so that I will know where it goes. And then I've also started taking pictures of those things to have in my phone, so that I will be able to see where I have that. I think it would be a good thing. I just realized it would be a really good thing to add in the corner which notebook it is. Name the notebook so that I have an idea. I do have a specific shelf in my office where all the notebooks go. So if I find that I've left them in a different room, I will pick them up and bring them back to that shelf, so that all the notebooks end up in the same place. And that way, even though I have a bunch of them, and I really do, and I love collecting notebooks because they're so pretty. I get the ones with the different shiny covers. I love sparkles. And so I will start writing in that notebook, and then it'll get full, and it'll have a lot of really different random things, because I'll write down my good ideas. And we get a lot of really great ideas, and it is a really important thing. Write them down when you have those ideas. And if I don't have a notebook, again, I write it on my phone. I also do voice memos on my phone, because sometimes it would take too long to write, or if I'm driving, I don't want to be typing on my phone, but I can hit voice memo, and I can just record that to write it down later. So yeah, I have that same thing. I have notes for ADHD in several different notebooks, and what I've been doing lately is I'm going through the notebooks, and everywhere I put at the time everywhere I put at the top, it says ADHD. I pulled that out, and I have another folder for my book and for my presentations that I can pull it out and put it in there. So I just thought, seriously, Galaxy says, what's your name? Because it says, you know who I am, but I don't.
I think it's Rachel.
Is it Rachel? Okay. Yes, I am pretty organized. I am. And it's not necessarily not Rachel. Okay.
You're creeping us out.
It's the Easter Bunny. Oh my gosh. Is that Patty? Anyway. Do I teach organization? I do. I teach organization as a part of my group mentoring. It is. How are we doing on time? Okay. So I guess we could talk a bit more about my group mentoring. I just want to make sure I get you guys' answer you guys' questions. How do you get the stuff on your phone without getting distracted? That is a good question. I have had trouble falling into Facebook in my games as well. So what I've done is before I even get the phone open, I tell my phone, launch notes. I tell it which app to launch. So I'm immediately in there. If I'm already on the phone, I have notes out. It's not in a hidden folder, so that I know that's what I'm going for. I also cleared almost all the games off my phone. I kept Plants vs. Zombies because that's my guilty pleasure that I love, but the rest of the games are gone. And I decided to do that after listening to your CD, Julie, and you said the mind-numbing effect. And I started looking at how much time did I spend just playing games, and was I happy with the results with my life doing that? And I decided I wasn't. I'd been playing these mindless games for hours, and I totally ignored the other stuff going on in my life. And I like still having a game to play on my phone, but I just have one. And it's okay. So I'll say this, if you're going to pick a game on your phone because you love games and you want to have this, pick a game that has a set time. So I can finish one level in Plants vs. Zombies, and it takes me between 3 to 7 minutes, and then it's done. And I feel like, okay, I've done it. I've played a game. I'm good. And other days, like if I'm on vacation, I will totally budget an hour. I'm going to just play it.
So
yes.
Sorry,
go ahead.
You can try to take the apps off your phone so you don't get notifications.
Exactly. And I also, on my phone, on most phones, you can pick which notifications you get. And I turned off the notifications for everything except the most important things that I wanted to get notifications for. So like for text, I still get notifications. For Facebook Messenger, because I do a lot of my business through there, I get notifications for that. I don't always have the notifications for Facebook because I just get too many. But for Messenger, I keep that on. For my games, never. I don't want them to be bugging me. I want to go to them when I want them. So yeah, that's something that I've done, is I've managed my notifications so that I don't have them constantly in my face.
Awesome. Yeah, I've done that too. That's helped me because I'm so easily distracted. But you're like, you were talking about the state change. When you turn on your phone, that's also another state change.
It can be, but I've found that for me, being able to talk to my phone and tell it what to open, that it helps you immediately getting me there. It does.
Yeah, because then you open your phone and you see, ooh, look at all these things, you know?
Yeah, like, oh my goodness.
I get distracted by it. Like, I'll just like, oh, what am I supposed to do? And then I just like open up, Facebook or one of the social media instead of doing what I'm supposed to do.
Right. And so, for me, that more applies with computer than my phone. My phone, for me, because it's an instant access to exactly what I want, it's easier for me on my phone to go to the right thing. On my computer, here's the thing I do. I actually, again, I make a list and even put sticky notes on the computer. I want to get these 3 things done. And then I plan that when I get them done, I get to go surf Facebook for a long time, or play on Pinterest, or look up news, or go shopping, so that I don't feel guilty doing those things. I feel like I accomplished the things I wanted to do, and then I get to play. I will also make lists that I sometimes ignore, and I will mark them by where they need to be accomplished. So I will have, and I just write everything down to get it out of my head. So I will write down all the errands I have to run, all the people I have to contact, and all the things I need to do on the computer. And then I go back through that list and I will mark them, P for people, E for errands, C for computer. So I bring that list with me when I go to the computer, and I can go down the list and remember. That's how I remember which things I need to get done. So for me, that the computer's that. For other people, it might be, if I'm going to look at it on my phone, this is what I need to look at first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I make lists, but when I am actually at the computer, sometimes I forget what I'm doing, and so I get distracted. So I really like that tip of putting a sticky note right on my computer screen.
Yeah.
That will help me stay focused more, I think. I'm gonna definitely implement that one.
Awesome.
And then, yeah, I think that will make a huge difference. So awesome. Thank you.
Good.
Pinterest has been banned at my house.
I love Pinterest, but it has to go in my playtime, because I do allow playtime on the computer, or else I would hate the computer every time I went to it. It's like, oh, it's not fun to be on the computer. I want to have my fun. I want to be able to go shopping. So again, that's something that I plan for. And sometimes it's like I don't go to the computer for anything else except it's time to play. So that when I get on the computer, I can just do whatever distracting thing. And if I end up getting on some political page and just reading through, because it is important to know about the different candidates, but sometimes it's not important to surf that as long as I do. So I just plan on that's playing, and I think we do need to allow for time that we can just totally be distracted by everything and enjoy that.
So say I'm doing something specific on Facebook or something for my business, and I see something that I want to watch or look at. But if I don't look at it then, I won't be able to find it in the Facebook. So what do you suggest I should do to keep me focused, but still able, I really want to watch that. Should I watch it right then? Or should I how should I somehow stay prioritized, but know that I still have permission to go back and watch that, and then be able to know how to find it?
Good question. So I do that a couple different ways. One of the ways is that I will right click on it and say open it in a new window, and I keep that window there until I'm done with the window that I'm in, finishing the business item that I'm in. The other thing is, there on Facebook on the computer, there's a little arrow that goes down, and you can say save this post for later. And so you can go back to your saved posts so you know where it is. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if you click on that post, it will have its own unique URL that you can go to. And so I have a document that is fun things to look at later. So I can go back to that on my computer and just go, okay, so that's one of the posts I wanted to see, and I have time now to look at that. So I do it 3 different ways, but all of them are helpful, and it depends on how quick I need to do it. Can it be done on phones? I am not sure. I would have to look at that. Now I want to do it right now in the middle of the webinar. That's distracting. I will look at that later.
We all get on our phones. And
we're like, oh my gosh, we got to find it. I don't know if you can do it on your phone. I know for sure. Squirrel. Yes, thank you.
Kayla says do it on your phone too. Use the drop down arrow. So yay, she's
right. Right, but the other thing is, on my phone, I don't see everybody's news feed. I might only see one thing underneath what I'm trying to post, so that keeps me from being as distracted. On my phone, you can also take a picture, a snapshot, so it'll tell you who did that post, so you can go back to that person's page and go, that's where they had it.
I like that.
So if you can't do the save the post on the phone, you can take a picture of it, a snapshot of your screen, so you'll know who to go back to find that.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Hey, do you guys feel like you learned a lot? Who feels like they've learned a lot? Type in the chat. Galaxy S6 has learned a lot.
Awesome.
All
Oh,
right.
she says, thank you so much. You're very welcome.
And Michaela. She feels left alone. And Jamie.
Good. That is one of the main things I want for people to know is you're not alone. You're not alone. There are a lot of us out there that have these same problems, and you're not facing these struggles alone. They are not unique to you. Not that you're not unique, but the problems aren't unique, and there are solutions. And there are people out there that can help you.
Yes, for sure. Like you, Elona.
Yes. I'd love to help.
Okay, awesome. All right, so forgetfulness is my specialty. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so would you like to quickly tell about your group mentoring?
Absolutely. So I'm starting some group mentoring in September, and it's geared toward people who have ADHD in their life, whether it's they're like me and they have it themselves, or their spouse has it, or their kids have it, or I like it within the family, but it would also apply if you're teaching somebody or you work with somebody, because I want you to know what it's like. But here's the thing, I'm going to be teaching similar things. There's so much more I could go into in time and money and memory management that I will in my group mentoring, that I don't have as much time as I'd like to spend on it here. Like, I could probably spend a day on each of those subjects, but in my group mentoring, I will be teaching more about those. I will also be teaching about motivation, how to overcome procrastination, emotional management, because with ADHD, we can totally like blow up in our emotions and be like all of a sudden super excited, and then switch. Something small triggers us and we go to just totally depressed and shut down. And I want to help you prevent that, because especially if you're working a business, you don't want your kid's sock in the middle of the floor to keep you from making the business calls you need to make the rest of the day. You want to be able to manage that emotion so that you get the stuff done you want. And there will be some other stuff in there, and I'm going to also allow for plenty of time for questions in my group mentoring. So if there's something that you're coming to, just have this burning question, I want you to have time for that so that you can get your questions answered as well. I am limiting the group to 20 people because I do want to be able to give individual attention. And I still have quite a few spots left. So, but if you want to get in on that, Julie has asked me to give you guys a special. And so I will. On my website, if you go to asktheadhdkid.com, and I'll type that in the chat. That's my website. If you go there, there's a page specifically for my mentoring, and you can see at the bottom, I call it Sunbeam Mentoring because my mentoring is called Love and Light Mentoring. So you get to be one of my sunbeams. And if you're LDS, you know what other connotation that has, but I love sunbeams. So, so if you go to that, on my website, it says that my group mentoring is $497. And I've seen these kind of group mentorings for upwards $3,000 to $10,000, you know, and I wanted this to be more affordable. Because I know if you've got ADHD in the family, money can be kind of a hard thing because you're spending so much on therapy and other things and replacing lost keys a lot of times.
And sticky notes.
And sticky notes, because we need to keep the Post-it company in business. Yes. So I wanted to make that accessible. But because you guys are on this webinar or you're watching, again, the replay, I want you to have this deal. I want you to be able to be a part of my group mentoring for just $197.
Awesome. That's a great deal.
Yeah. And my husband was like, you're putting so much time into this. How can you offer it for that price? And I said, because that's what God said. You need to help people, and this is the price that people who need this is what they can do. And I was like, okay, so that's what I will do. And I'm so excited for it, you guys. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm going to have more details for you. If you go to my website, Ask the ADHD Kid, for all of you that go today, if you sign up for my mailing list, I'm going to send out a hard copy of these tips so that you guys, and maybe even add some more, you get some extras, so that you guys have them and you can refer back to them. Because if you're like me, sometimes you forget to write them down during the webinar and you're like, what was that one again? So I will do that for you guys. I want you guys to have that. So everybody gets something from me for sure. And this is the big giveaway. I have room in my practice right now, my mentoring business. I have just finished up with a few clients, so I have room for a few more clients. My website has my prices. If you are on this webinar, you can get $300 off my website price. And for one person who signs up, I'll do a drawing in the next 24 hours that I'm going to give away one of my mentoring packages. And it's going to be 3 sessions over 3 months. And I'm going to include a ticket to Master Your Influence this weekend. So you have to be sure that you can go to Master Your Influence this weekend if you guys want that ticket. And if you're interested in that package, is anybody that's on the webinar interested in getting that? Would anybody like to be mentored by me? Am I just throwing that out? You guys want to comment on that? Everybody's like, silent. I think I shocked them.
That's really awesome, Elona.
Okay, and if Master Your Influence won't work for this weekend, I can get it moved to the next Master Your Influence. I got connections. But the mentoring, so that you're not worried about how that happens, the mentoring for the group mentoring, and the group mentoring, I should mention, is online, and it will be recorded. It'll be webinars. And so if you don't make it at the specific time that we're holding the webinar, you will get that recording, and it's yours to keep forever. It's not like it'll be up for a little while and then it's gone. It's yours forever. You get to keep that. And you can watch it from anywhere in the country. It'll be done just like this webinar today through Zoom. So you can get on and be able to ask me questions live. To put in for the drawing, you're going to want to go to my website, Ask the ADHD Kid, and sign up for my newsletter. But also comment now. Tell me who wants this. I want it because I wanted to give it to somebody who's on this webinar live. I want to reward you guys for being the ones that are here.
So there's lots of people.
And if you want to be in it, you have to tell me your name. I know, I'm really picky.
S6.
S6.
She's a droid.
That would be my first mechanical client. That's really funny. And my mentoring appointments are either via the phone or webinar, or if you are willing to come to me, I will do them in person. And I love, love, love doing them in person. So,
hey, awesome. That's huge.
Yeah. It's really fun. And I
just said give them a little something, and you like.
I know it's like this really big thing, but I felt prompted that I wanted to give something big. I wanted to, yeah. The Lord's like, you've got something big to give it. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So yeah, and I've got some fun things coming out. I just finished turning in an article. I'm going to be in the book Beautiful in My Skin. That's coming out in September. You guys can look for that. And I'm also writing my own book, ADHD from the Inside Out. And I'm also doing another book. So if you go to my website, I'm going to be looking for writers because I'm going to do an anthology. And I love hearing people's stories about ADHD. And I want people to be able to tell their stories because I want other people to hear stories of hope and healing and triumph. Like me, where I have overcome what I thought were weaknesses. Galaxy X says, no, we didn't see who you are. And you say, did you see that? I just showed you who I am. No, I didn't see that. But I want people to have those stories also so that they can know who their resources are, who can help them to overcome these things. And sometimes the story itself will be the example. And but that's what I want to have in that book is examples for people to go to and go, that is a great thing. Here, I can do that with my kid, or I can do that with my spouse, or I can implement that in my life, and my life will be better.
Awesome. Thank you. I have just a little quick thing that I want to share with you guys. Is that okay? One of the things I don't know if I have ADHD or not. I haven't officially ever been diagnosed or anything, and so I don't know if I have it. But when I talk to Elona, and you know what what my issues are, I really kind of think I do, and my daughter does, and she's exactly like what I was as a kid, and so I'm kind of thinking that I do have it. I've just been able to manage it very well, and so. But one of the things that has helped me a ton with my relationships, because I know that, you know, with these things that we deal with, that we struggle a little bit sometimes with relationships, and being able to communicate properly, because our mind goes so many different places that I don't always can't focus long enough to remember to tell my husband something. And so one of the things that's helped me a ton is actually having scheduled meetings with him and being able to communicate and be on the same page. And one of the things that's helped me a ton with that particularly is I tend to double book myself. Like when some opportunity comes, I'm like, yay, that sounds fun, and I'll say yes. And then I've already had something scheduled that day that I wasn't thinking about or forgot to put in my calendar or whatever. But when I tell my husband what's going on and we have that open communication, he is better at remembering. And so he tells me what, well, how are you going to do both of those? You know, like he keeps me on track. He really, having these meetings has really grounded me and helped me with that. Feeling like I'm more in control of my life because it not only puts me into my schedule every single week, making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but it helps me to have him verify that I'm okay with my schedule, that I don't have way too much going and stuff like that. So anyway, that has helped me a ton. And I don't have time to teach you the whole process right now, but I do want to give you a little printable that I have made that gives you pretty detailed instructions on how to do it. So you can print that out and take it to your meeting. And if you're not married, you can use this for like a family meeting. And it would be helpful for a family meeting. It would just look slightly different. But you can follow the same steps. And so I would like to give that to you guys. But you do need to let me know if you do want it. And so when I send out the email with the recording, you just need to click on that link that I'm going to put in there that has the printable, and then you sign up for that printable, and it will automatically be sent to you when you sign up for it. But I'm not going to just give it to anyone who doesn't want it. I want you to want it. And so just sign up for that printable, and it's totally free, and it will help you a ton. I want to share that with you because it's helped me so much that I just am, very passionate about it. So, all right, that is what I have. We already think are out of time, right? Yep. It's already 1:29. So I want to just say real quick, thank you guys so much for being on this, and I hope that you got a lot of value. And I want to encourage you to keep on your journey of learning and be a part of webinars like this. Be a part of those things and groups that you can continue your learning. That has made a huge difference for me. I just want to make sure you know that that is super important to your development as a person. So do you agree, Elona?
Oh, absolutely. And I just have to say, you guys, I want you to know that Julie gave me those tips and I've used them, and I already had a really good relationship with my husband, and it got so much better. And I also used that same principle with my kids, and my relationship with them got better. So thank you so much, Julie. I promise you guys, you're going to love what she sends you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Okay. I will send the recording as soon as I can get it all ready to go. And thank you guys. You guys are amazing, and take advantage of some of these offers that Elona has given us. All right.
You guys, just, you know what, just to make sure that I get the people that were on here, because some of you guys, all I see is I don't see names. I just see like phone numbers and stuff. Comment on my Facebook page that you were on here today. If you're interested in getting that mentoring, comment on my Facebook page. that you were on the webinar and that you are interested in getting that mentoring. And then I'll do a drawing and I'll pick one of you guys. Okay.
Awesome. All right. Okay. Love you guys. You guys have an awesome day.
Bye, guys.
It says it LTTAP is my name.
Yeah.
Oh, ILTTAP. I think
it's Patty.
Oh, it's backwards.
You're so cute, Patty.
All right. Okay, bye guys. Love ya.
Bye.